Midfielder João Mario does not believe the headlines around Cristiano Ronaldo will negatively affect the Portuguese team as it bids for a first World Cup title. That's over there in Qatar. Mario was forced to clear up speculation that Bruno Fernandes snubbed Ronaldo on his arrival in the Portuguese dressing room. This is the incident that sparked headlines suggesting Ronaldo received a frosty reception from his Manchester United colleague in the aftermath of that controversial interview with Piers Morgan. So Bruno walks in, Ronaldo offers the hand, gets a cold handshake, and he's looking at Bruno like, pal, that's it? That's so dry? Look at how he dabs up Rafael Leao. Look at that greeting for Joao Felix, and look at the CR7 reaction. Look at that. He has to offer the hand, holding the hand. Bruno goes back and says, yeah, let it play. Oh, I just wanted to cross it. But it's all right. Here's what Joao Mario says. I was in the locker room at the moment. I saw pictures. It was a joke between them. Bruno Fernandes was one of the last to arrive. Cristiano asked, did you come by boat? Yeah? So social media, well, Bruno responded on social media saying, oh, Joao Mario, you are ruining the covers of the newspapers. Now, as to whether the headlines around Ronaldo will negatively impact the team, Joao Mario had this to say. For us, it's the same. The headlines are always about him, so for us, it's quite the same. So I don't see a problem with the timing because everyone always speaks about Cristiano Ronaldo, so it's fine for us. Well, there was another curious incident at the training ground. This interaction between Ronaldo and Manchester City's Joao Cancelo. Ronaldo goes over to Cancelo. Look at, what's this? And Cancelo is saying, brother, I'm in the mood right now, brother. I made something different. And Sierra walks off. So, I don't know. You make what you will of these pictures. Make what you will of these pictures. Portugal opened their World Cup campaign on Thursday, November 24, against Ghana. Let's welcome Juan Giarango, one of our international football correspondents, to the discussion. Juan, let's start with the Cancelo interaction. I don't know if you're a part-time body language expert, but what do you interpret? What do you take, if anything, from that interaction between the City man and CR7?
Look, if I did that to you, George, I think that would be preceded by you wringing my neck. To be quite honest with you. No, I'm not an expert in body language, nor do I act one on television. That's the problem. But I can tell you, having been, being married, that if my partner acts that way when I am being warm towards them or towards her, that's usually not a good thing. That's just me speculating. Now, at the same time, when you're in a position like this, when your team has the spotlight in this manner, you tend to not say, yeah, things are pretty bad. You're not going to go and say, yeah, you know what, Cristiano's a jerk. You know what Cristiano did was wrong. No, if you say anything, unlike what Cristiano Ronaldo did in that interview with Piers Morgan, you say it from the doors in. You don't say it from the doors out. And I think that's what his teammates are trying to do, saying, okay, well, if I have something to say to you, I'm going to say it to you in private. At least that's my impression. Could there be something wrong? Maybe not. But the way that you see them comport around him ends up being quite coincidental, ends up being quite strange that they're all acting the same way, even though all the cameras are on.
Yeah, and seeing that, all these reactions tend to be the headlines, do you get the sense that Cristiano Ronaldo really has to have a good World Cup if he is to get another club to go to?
Well, Mariah, here's the thing. Expendability exposes vulnerability. And I think that's the stage at which Ronaldo finds himself at this stage of his career. He's a tremendous footballer, one of the greatest of all time, one of the greatest goal scorers, if not the greatest goal scorer of all time. But the way he's acting right now is exactly what he's been doing for the past few months, trying to find a way out and trying to find a way to seduce Todd Bowley, the owner of Chelsea, to bring him on board, or whoever ends up coming through. So much so that Bayern Munich says, no, we're not interested in Cristiano Ronaldo. I don't know where this came from. So you have to start looking for the bidders. And how do you do it? Well, trying to find a way out as best as possible, as quickly as possible, with the least amount of money that these teams have to spend. So how do you do it? Well, having your contract rescinded in any which way possible. That's going to be the big thing to look at in the coming days. As far as what George said in the last segment, I would even start looking at Monday as far as the lawyers getting involved and trying to find a way out.
Yeah, trust and teamwork, very important to the sport of football. Do you get the sense that what he's been saying about Manchester United will affect his form at Portugal?
Manchester United, okay, they have, what was it he said antiquated technology. But that antiquated technology has kind of helped them out in order to revert their situation and find themselves in a favorable run of form in recent weeks. If you go back and see what Manchester United have been able to do, let's even go back to the Mourinho days. Yeah, it was still antiquated technology. They were still able to win trophies under him. It's a team that when Ronaldo was scoring hat tricks, well, they still had antiquated equipment in his eyes. By the way, he's also talking about the marketing aspect and how the Glazers only care about it. I personally saw him shaking hands and just living it up when Tom Brady was on the pitch over at Old Trafford back in March, and he was enjoying it. So what happened then? What happened now? Again, those are some of the things that end up kind of, hey, wait a second. You were living it up a great deal when things were going well, but now things aren't going so well or things aren't so favorable for you. Why are you acting in this way to make things harmful? And not only that, he's been able to make life much easier for Eric Ten Hag, saying, you know what? If this guy is able to reprimand Cristiano Ronaldo, imagine what would happen to me as a player if I end up goofing off or doing something along the lines that he's done. Made it much easier for him as a coach to handle the situation.
Juan, I saw you nervously looking to your right there just now when you were referencing your wife, but we won't go there at the moment. I want to ask you about Joe Mario and the Portugal coach and how he addressed the Ronaldo grabbing the spotlight in this context and this particular story, and suggesting that it's normal for the Portugal national team to deal with Cristiano Ronaldo hogging the headlines or just attracting the headlines, obviously because of who he is. But is it reasonable to accept what he is saying now, given that these headlines are normal headlines when we're talking about someone who is in a phase where he appears to be disruptive?
If we look at it from the perspective of Cristiano Ronaldo, and we could have even looked at it as a Messi, if you want to start going into that nonsensical argument at times, the national team is their oasis. The national team is where they get away from all those pressures at the club level, the consistent pressure at the club level, and they end up assuming, I guess, the pressures, but also the relaxation and the luxury and the flexibility that the national team offers them when it comes to those types of behaviors, if you will. Since it's very brief, since it's something that you stay a few days, you can be yourself a little bit more. And a lot of times in the past, we've seen him be himself, joking around a bit more, being a little bit looser around his teammates and his teammates reciprocating in that manner. Yes, there is that. But when you find yourself in a situation like this, and we've seen it when Cristiano Ronaldo hasn't been in the best of moods or in the best of situations, both personally and or professionally, that there is a bit of tension in the national team, but he knows and his teammates know that when the pressure's on, he's the one that's there. He's that lightning rod, if you will, to absorb that pressure, to absorb all those spotlight, everything from the spotlight, and allow his teammates to kind of be themselves. This is a completely different situation because it ends up, to a certain extent, indirectly infecting the rest of the team. How will it start working out as we get closer to their first game against Ghana and progressively throughout this next World Cup? It's going to be interesting to see how that dynamic does end up developing.
Yeah, Juan, that's all the time we have. We have to leave it there. I'm just saying that this is a player in terminal decline, has scored one free kick in 5 years. Mm-hmm. Yeah, just one in 5 years. Mm-hmm. And he takes them every game. He gets them. Yeah. It's a player in terminal decline. His biggest problem is the fact that he's not what he once was, and that's what is causing all of this. But we'll talk about that another time. Godspeed, my friend. All the best to you.
See you soon. I'll talk to you when I'm over in Qatar.
Excellent. Juan G. Arango there. We break and we come back. We'll talk some cricket. Nikhil Uttam Chandani, our guest.